Hello there and a very warm welcome to this special Bloomberg UTV presentation. We're stepping into a brand new decade and the union budget is just days away. Today we come to you from the SPJN Institute of Management and Research in Mumbai, and with us are some young guns who are mustering up the courage to start up. On the other hand, we have some of those who've been there, done that. They started up a long time ago. I'm Radhika Bajaj.
I'm Vikram Oza, and of course the ones that you're talking about are sitting right up front in the first row, and the students who are brimming with confidence to be able to start off on their enterprise, they are here as well from SPJN Institute of Management and Research. There's a reason why we're calling this program a glass half empty, because we're looking at the times ahead, the next decade, the next 10 years, and what it can bring across the globe. Let's just meet them and find out how many of them are interested in setting up an enterprise in the next decade. How many of us over here, sitting over here, are interested in setting up your own enterprise? A good lot of them. Let's find out what they're interested in doing. What would you like to set up?
I would like to set up a sports shop. Like, I'm a football fan, so I would like to cater to, like, English Premier League is actually gaining popularity here. A sports shop that caters primarily to all the football fans. So that is my dream. What about
the lady here?
Okay. Basically, I'm interested in dancing and all. So I would like to set up a dance academy or any recreational center like that. So I would like to work towards that.
Right.
I was looking at something that is web oriented. I had some solutions probably, and I was thinking in that particular directions.
All right. The web has always been a popular way to start up. You have some thoughts as well?
Yeah, I would like to start up something in waste management, because as I see, we as a country need to manage our waste a lot. Although there are people who are moving into the space, but I'm probably looking at some innovative solution to the entire problem.
Okay, the ideas all seem to be there, but the big question is, when you think about starting up as young people full of confidence and you have the educational qualifications to start up, what are the things that stop you? What are the things that you think can be hurdles in your journey towards starting up? Let's get some thoughts.
Okay, I tried this several times ago. The moment I get an idea, I just Google it and it's always there. So that's the first thing. Okay.
It's an interesting thought. Let me find out from the people sitting up front whether they've had this problem, because we have people over here who've started off with a very different kind of idea. Like we have Divyang Turakia.
But to actually respond to what he just said, I think it's important to try and first figure out what is it that you want to do, and figure out whether you really want to do it, whether you really like it. It doesn't matter whether your idea has been implemented or not, because there is, if you look at any space in any industry and any vertical, there is no vertical or no industry in which I can say that this is the company, this is the only company. If you look at any space, there are at least 10 companies out there that are at the top, that are cutthroat, that are always competing with each other. So and also in some sense, you might, if you think about implementing an idea, it's not a bad idea to implement something that you've seen working, but implement it in a newer fashion, implemented with better cost structure, implemented with for a newer market or for a niche market that has not been implemented before.
According to me, it's an advantage that you want to get into a sector which is already tried out. You know, when you try to do something innovative, what I tried to do, the biggest challenge for me was to create awareness for that something new that you have done, which is way more difficult than to actually capture a market share of something that is already existing.
Right, so the idea being there is just one part of the problem. Do you foresee any other kind of issues?
I want to in fact start a business in animation industry, but I feel that animation industry as such is a very capital intensive, as in you need to have a lot of investment done beforehand you can start off with a business, and moreover you need a lot of experience beforehand. So do I need to first have experience and then think of starting up, or what are my options?
We have somebody here who's come up with graphic novels. Karanveer, how would you respond to that?
To have that experience, you have to start off. When you start off, you will find a lot of potholes, a lot of pits that you will fall in. When you fall in, you will learn. And it's an old saying from Henry Ford that I am successful because I had because of my good experiences. My good experiences came from my bad experiences, and bad experiences came from my bad judgments. So you have to learn from everything, you know. So you make judgments which are wrong and right.
But I just want to open this up on a broader basis. As people who want to start up, what are the issues that may stop you? And I'm not saying specific things like he mentioned the lack of experience or seed capital, things like the basic infrastructure not being in place.
The way I see it,
the most important problem which I feel is human resource, the kind of people which I need. I might be having the passion and the energy to implement that idea, but I single-handedly cannot implement it probably. I need some people who are equally motivated and who can believe in what I have to say.
Any other thoughts on what can be the worry areas? Go ahead.
The first issue that comes to my mind is registering a firm. In India, there is still not a single window clearance mechanism for registering a firm. How do you take? What's your take on that?
Right, and has anybody in this front row have had problems with the fact that, you know, clearances take eons?
I think that's one of the things that we would love to have from the government, and I believe that was the primary topic. Because if you look at, so what you're talking about is challenges about doing business in India. So if you look at the world and you rank India in terms of ease of doing business, and World Bank has done that, we rank currently at the 133rd position. Then if we bring that down, instead of looking at the world, we look at let's say South Asia. We basically would assume that in South Asia there are a limited number of countries we should rank decently there. And then there we rank second last, just one above Afghanistan. Isn't something to be proud about. So I think the challenge that you're talking about is averagely in India it takes about 30 days to set up a business, while if you take a company like, if you take a country like Singapore, it averagely takes you 3 days, which is 1/10 the time frame. Look, if you want to build a global business, then you need some amount of infrastructure support from the government, you need incentives from the government. Let's talk about the problems, right? There is one is setting up the business, 2 is infrastructure, 3 is finance or funding, 4 is cost of communication, 5 would be let's say people and manpower, what is the availability, administrative overheads, how do you remove them for startups versus larger companies. And there are several things that the government has done, and there are several things that they wanted to do, but their implementation hasn't really
been
gotten
at
there
the pace
and hasn't been out there at the pace at which we want.
In fact, Divyank, you've just got us to the point where we want to be. For me, we will come back in the next segment. We are going to be looking at what the government can essentially do to be able to tackle all these problems. Budget 2010 is just one part of it, but we're looking at the next decade, and these young people, they're looking far into the future to be able to set up the kind of enterprises that they want to. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Stay with us.